So one of my followers asked if Airbnb is still a good investment option.
That's a great question with a lot of answers.
This is what I would do.
I would have never thought of that. All right, guys, so we are here once again with DJ Sophia Body. Welcome back, Sophia.
Thank you.
Girl power is overwhelming us.
Yeah.
This is all about girl power. But this is really exciting because you had all of the many people that adore you DM you with questions for these guys, right? Mm-hmm. So we are going to go through the questions. You guys are going to answer.
We are.
And then you are going to drop a big bomb for everyone.
Yes.
Oof.
So.
All right. Hit us with those DMs. Let's go.
Well, yeah, I wanted Noelle here with me.
Okay.
I wanted you here.
I'm glad. I'm happy. I think this is great. There's never any other women. So we are like, we're doing it today.
Works.
And what would be the big bomb if you weren't here? Because
Yay! Yes, it
part
does
of
have
the
to do
bomb.
with the school. Exciting.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, I got questions. I got a lot of questions about Airbnbs, and they were a little different, but still kind of similar. So a lot of my friends, too, are like wanting to purchase homes and turn them into Airbnbs. And there was a lot of people asking me if, like, that was a good idea. Like, and I immediately thought no, because of what we spoke about last week, which is, like, if you're not in the state, like, where are the Airbnbs? Because I know there's a lot of limits in New York now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So my immediate thought would be like, okay, so Airbnb in Florida or wherever, Myrtle Beach, something. But if you're not there, then I don't think it's a good idea, right?
So let's break that question down. So
Yeah.
Airbnbs, are they a good investment? What you're saying is basically what we talked about last time. If you're not able to touch your property, then you shouldn't invest in it, especially if it's your first one, because you're not there to see it. Right, Omar?
Agreed, yeah. And Airbnb has so much upkeep that to manage something like that
You're going to need a property manager, basically.
Full time.
Yes.
But can I so what if you did find something in a place that was a vacation spot and you did get a manager? Would it be worth it?
Could be. I think part of it is determining, are you buying this as a strict investment or are you buying this as, ooh, I really want to live in Florida, in Miami, but right now I'm only going to go there 2 weeks a year, so I'm going to Airbnb it the rest of the time and try to offset your costs. So you have to understand what your strategy is. You know, we talked about being a first-time investor, being able to touch and feel what you're investing because you're learning, you know, and to learn when you're not there is crazy.
Yeah. And if you do this as your first investment, it's
Right.
so heavily management oriented that how are you going to keep somebody full-time on staff? Your reviews have to be on point.
Yeah.
And every single standard in the Airbnb has to be kept high. So it's something hard to do if you're not nearby.
Because it's like it's like running a hotel.
Like a lot of people like, oh, I don't need to, they think that there's not a lot attached to it or a lot that needs to go into it. And I think that it's important for first new homeowners or new people that want to get into real estate that they should know that there's like a lot on the line with an Airbnb.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It is hard.
And like you mentioned, New York outlawed it, right? So
Right.
Manhattan has to be
Basically,
minimum
yeah.
of 30 days, I think.
Yeah.
So there's no short-term Airbnbs allowed in Manhattan, and that's taking place in a lot of towns. But even
I
when
think you're right.
that ordinance gets passed, they don't fully enforce it. So what happened even in New Jersey is a lot of towns had active Airbnbs. And the concern was if one ordinance and your Airbnb is done, right? So I know in Jersey City, everyone was doing it, and then they passed the ordinance. I don't know how strictly it's enforced now, but you can lose your investment quickly.
Sure, because now you overpaid for something thinking that you could turn it into a
Right.
hotel.
Yeah, and the cash flow
Right.
doesn't
And
work.
your cash flow is going to be based on a monthly rental price or a yearly rental price, which could be half of what you were expecting.
Yeah, if not
Right.
even less.
Yeah.
So I remember during COVID, I had a few friends in Jersey City. Their Airbnbs were doing great, but as soon as COVID hit, they had to rent it at market rent, and
they
every single
crushed.
one of those homes, they got crushed. Yeah.
So it's important to know, as Omar is mentioning, every city or state has different rules and laws, and a lot of these Airbnbs, people do it because they're in like a touristy place or they're in the country. One of the things you have to check out is, do you have a homeowners association? Are you part of a community? Those communities have rules. So this is a funny question, because I was just on the phone with my buddy from New York State, and he lives in a high-end home community that traditionally is for people to live in. And all of a sudden, this couple from Manhattan bought a house, and they started seeing all these different people there all the time.
They don't like that.
So they all the community members searched the internet, and they actually found the house on the internet, and they were Airbnb-ing it on the weekend as like a retreat in the mountains.
I hate homeowners
Crazy.
associations.
Yep. And then another
Did I say
house in the
that?
same community, they were Airbnb-ing their pool, which is another really cool thing people are doing.
Airbnb being your pool.
Yeah, it's called something else though.
Yeah.
There's like a special app for it.
Yep. So you can rent people's pools and have
Yeah.
a party. It was crazy. So that community now, which maybe there's like 100 homes there, they're going to fight to shut both of these down because they're against the bylaws. Not to say that it's not a doable business, because it is. There's plenty of people making bank doing that.
But I feel like they aren't first-time homeowners.
They're probably not. They're
Yeah,
probably
like-
not. Yeah.
It's not a way to make money starting with little money, right? So if you
Yeah.
have money you want to invest and you have some cushion, then it's something worth doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it is
then
something,
maybe if it was like even before COVID,
Yeah.
I know that even before COVID, it was cool with like, people would have condos not there, whatever. But there's so many restrictions. There's so
Yes.
many different
Yeah.
people now.
Yeah.
Booking out the spot that like anything can happen. They could break the wall and then you have to pay for the wall, so it's a lot.
they're furnished, so all of your
Right.
furniture, your
Right.
belongings are there. It's definitely a crazy business. I think if someone wants to get interested in that, they should go out and actually rent Airbnbs for themselves and go try out a bunch and learn about it. And then they can make an educated decision whether it's something they want to get into.
About 6 years ago, I stayed at an Airbnb that was awesome. I had my son with me. We were driving down to North Carolina. The woman stocked the fridge with beers and wine coolers, and she had games for kids. Loved it. But how many of those are out there? The beer
Yeah.
and wine cooler. And I went through the wine coolers.
I'm sure.
And Airbnbs typically these days they're more expensive than a lot of hotel options.
Yeah.
The cleaning fees
Well,
are through the roof.
which makes that more like a thing. If I'm a first time, I could rent this. I can rent it for more than a hotel a night, but it still doesn't.
No, because if it's too high, then you may not get the
Yeah.
the rents that you need.
Before COVID, I would probably be like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. But after COVID, and because I've rented so many, like as I was DJing in Minnesota, we rented an Airbnb. It was also filled with like cool, drinks and games and stuff. But to me, those aren't first time home owners
they're
that are
professionals.
that do
Investors,
it
yeah.
or have had the home for a long time and then doing it. Like
I think if you're in real estate as an investor, and then you want to add an Airbnb to your plate, I
Yeah.
think it's doable.
yeah. So
But I think the attraction for Airbnbs is that you're getting a much better bang as a tenant. So if you're renting this huge house for the same price you could rent a hotel for.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
And that's a huge thing these days.
Yeah.
Groups of 15 people or so, if they want to go out and rent
and
a
I
big
don't want
house.
to rent as a first time homeowner. I don't want to rent my house to a bunch of
15 people.
15 people. Like
Who don't care what they're
But
doing,
it
right?
depends
Yeah.
because there's some homes in say by Lake George, upstate New York, that's more woody area.
Yeah.
These make good getaways. So
So for,
Yeah, I know.
for,
So for 10,
for
15
15 of our investor friends.
so.
yeah. So
So yeah, if you're looking to do it as a first time homeowner, do it as if you are adamant about doing it, I would say do it in like a woody area.
yeah, do it in a
or
real
like,
strategic area.
Yeah,
where
not-
people want to get away.
Yeah, instead of just.
And then I
know.
have a friend who rents part of his home as an Airbnb, and he does great. It's
Wow.
a
Oh,
separate
but that
part of
means
the
there's
house.
someone in your home.
But it's separate. It's a separate part of the
But
house.
at least he's there. and
Works
he
out
can,
perfect. Yeah, and they make great money off it. Consistently booked.
There you go.
But
it's a
where
full-
is he? I don't think that I could, where I am, say,
they-
we'll rent out our downstairs bedroom.
So they're near a college. So that part of the
Okay.
house is separate, but it's
Yeah.
a full-time service. you
Got
know?
it.
It's like bed and breakfast almost.
Bed and breakfast. Oh, she's cooking and
Without
feeding.
the,
and-
without the breakfast.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
The
Their
bed,
eggs in
no
the
breakfast.
fridge.
Yeah.
Okay, so how could you be a first time homeowner if you have had bad credit?
Ooh.
But now your credit is good, but banks still do not want to lend to you because of your credit
History.
bad credit
Great
history.
question.
Typically, if your credit is good now, you should be able to get a loan. If not, I would speak
I
with
think
someone who
if-
does credit repair, and they're able to.
But they did do credit repair,
Mm-hmm.
and they have great credit now, but they have bad credit history.
Got it. So as you all know, it
So if
takes
you can't
7
get
years.
an investment from a bank, what's another way that you can own a house or get? You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
how
So
do
it
you,
takes 7 years for negative reporting to become off of your credit.
Oh,
Negative
okay.
meaning something
Okay.
at the level of
Like if they
bankruptcy.
made a late payment or if you're bankrupt.
Late payments too,
You
yeah.
know, some of these.
7 years.
I don't know. I think bankruptcy comes off in 7 years too.
So it can, but when it comes to late payments, I don't think you need to fully take it off. You just have to improve your credit score, right? Because you can have a late payment. in
I
your
mean, if
credit
you have
history.
like a late mortgage payment, I think that's more of a problem.
They said their credit was like high 70s.
now
That's high
that's great.
700.
That's a good score.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they said that they're having issues from the banks because of their history.
Their history.
So
Maybe
I
they had a
guess-
bankruptcy.
Yeah, and question is,
Yeah.
how long has their credit been in high sevens? Did they just boost it in the past few months?
Couple
or
years.
Couple of years.
Oh.
Like maybe the past 2 years.
I
They
think
may-
2 years is enough time.
They may not be making their income enough income, but what they could
Yeah.
do is everybody has usually a traditional bank. Banks are not the most aggressive lenders.
Right.
So if you go to a mortgage broker,
Okay.
those brokers have access to 50 or 60 different products of investor products that are throughout the country. So there are people out there that are going to be more apt to lend to lower
Yeah.
credit score borrowers. So get away from the banks.
Right.
Find
Go
those
to a mortgage broker.
mortgage brokers. There's tons of them out there, and go talk to them about the programs. Don't give your credit score out yet, and don't give your
History.
don't give your social security number out.
Oh.
Correct.
You can give them your credit score. You can actually pull one of those reports, show them the challenges, and let them talk to you. Let them explain to you what programs are available. There's some no doc programs out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you guys highlight those? So we're talking about buying a home, but if they are looking to do a buy and hold or an investment, what about hard money lenders? Would they be able to go to a hard money lender with a newly
What's a hard money lender?
Well, what's a hard money lender?
So hard money. No, a hard money.
Right back at you.
A hard money lender is a lender that specifically lends for investments.
Okay.
And they don't necessarily look at your personal credit as much,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Okay.
As much.
They only lend out change because change is hard.
No.
No dollar
They-
bills.
They care more about what does this investment deal look like? How much will the return be? How good of an investment is it? Now you guys go deeper into it. That's my surface knowledge about it,
So
but
why are they called hard money lenders?
Because it's hard to get money from them.
Close.
I don't know because they're
Because-
hard asses.
because like you
I don't
said-
know.
That's part of it, but because like Noel just said, they lend based on the hard asset,
Ah.
right? Not personal financials and
Right.
So they'll look at the asset and say,
Right.
does it make
but
sense?
if it's a home,
Your personal home,
then you're not getting.
Right.
No, this is
That's where-
only for investments.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're going to flip something, if you want to buy a multifamily home, right, and
Yeah.
like
Okay.
rent it out.
Now you can get a hard money loan on a personal house, but you're paying a significantly higher rate.
Okay.
So they won't turn you down. They want
Right.
to lend money.
And it's
Okay.
usually a shorter term loan.
It's a shorter term loan. That's the other thing. So you'll have to speak with them about eventually refinancing it. So what you could do is buy it through hard money, make consistent payments, and maybe refinance it down the road.
Is it
Okay.
easier to refi if you already have the house sometimes?
It's easier, but they still, well, it depends.
Like if you
I was-
did the hard money loan and then you wanted to get out of it, I think sometimes a bank will refi you into a property that you already have, sometimes a little bit easier than give you an acquisition loan.
It can be, but similar to what you said before,
Yeah.
you'd have to speak to a mortgage broker
Yeah.
because traditional banks will still have the same requirements.
So the reason why it's a shorter term, like it's not a 30-year mortgage, is because it's really for those people who want to buy it and then they're going to fix
Flip
it
it.
up and then they'll flip it. So they're going to have the money sooner rather than later
Okay.
Yeah, but with that said, some of them do offer permanent loans still, just
Really?
at a higher rate.
Okay.
at a higher rate.
So the answer would be a mortgage broker or
Over a bank.
over a bank, right? Mortgage broker or hard money lender.
Stick with the mortgage
Yeah.
brokers first. Hard
Yeah.
money lender is like if you really need it.
Okay.
Because their rates could sometimes be up to 15%.
It's
So-
like the people. Who are the people that you take money from, and
Loan
then
sharks?
and then they break your legs?
Well, hard money lenders in theory don't break legs. Not the ones that I've met.
Yeah.
But try the mortgage brokers. They have hundreds of programs that they can work with, and every company has different opportunities. So make a bunch of calls, interview people, talk to them, be honest about your situation.
Right.
Show them your credit report. Don't run your credit 15 times, but show them a report, and then once you feel good about somebody, and also get referrals.
All right.
Okay. Cool.
Next question.
Is there websites that show houses that are foreclosed or house that have tax or water liens against them?
Different topics. So foreclosures, we know they happen on a county level, right? So Bergen County, for example, all the foreclosures are listed on the county website.
Okay.
The homes that are going into foreclosure.
And would that be the same for New York, like for Queens County, Kings County?
I want to
Yeah.
say yes, but
Okay.
different states have different rules. But the whole
Okay.
idea is that this county, at the foreclosures happen at the county level, so it is public information at some point. However, they disclose it.
Well, aren't there websites that sell, hey, we have access to foreclosures?
Foreclosed houses.
There are, but
Are they
now-
scams?
That's what.
It's a gimmick in a lot of ways because if there's a advertisement for foreclosures across the U.S., they're selling you the list. But what
Got
use
it.
is that list to you if it's out in Texas? Number one, and secondly, if you're investing locally, you can get it straight from the county website.
Okay, so basically
So you
those
can do it for
websites
free.
that do exist and charge money are for lazy people, because in theory you can just go to the county, what Omar's saying, and get the list yourself,
okay.
right?
Yeah, it's a big,
Pretty much.
it's a big sales.
Yeah.
You
gimmick.
said county websites though, where you could go to the county clerks.
So in New Jersey, the sheriff's sale happens and it's posted on the sheriff's website. So
Okay.
you can literally just type Bergen County Sheriff Sales and all the homes that are going into foreclosure are listed there.
Okay.
So, like, if you were in New York, you would do New York County or Kings County or whatever it is.
Because when a bank forecloses,
It's public information.
it's public, and they have to sell your property, and their job is to sell it for the most money, because they can't just sell it for the loan amount and then rob you of whatever equity you had. They have to sell it for the highest amount of money. So they promote those auctions, and that should be, I'm assuming that's the same in every state where those auctions are promoted.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a list somewhere, and you just have to figure out how to get access to that list in whatever area you're in.
and not to mention the sheriff's sale itself is a public auction. So,
So anyone could go.
yeah.
Anyone. I could walk in there. Do I have to have a certain amount of money? Do I have
Yes.
to? You do.
Oh, you have to have a certain amount of money.
Not to walk in.
Not to walk in, no.
No.
Anyone can attend it,
Yeah.
but if you place a bid, it's a cash bid as is, and you need, at least in New Jersey, it's
10%,
25%
25%.
down payment if you win the bid.
But you
need
could
like
just
a
go.
certified
You could.
check for 25%.
With the exact
Got it.
amount.
Right.
But
Okay.
what I'm thinking is, if someone wanted to understand and get the feel of it, nothing stops them from going
Correct.
and auditing it.
Yeah, you could go sit in.
I've been to two. I've never bought anything at an auction, but a lot of times the banks will buy the property themselves because they couldn't bid it up high enough. So
Yeah.
they buy it. And I've actually followed the lawyers for the banks out into the hallway and got their contact information and said, hey, I know you just got this property. I want to buy it from you. And I've actually successfully acquired a commercial property doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
You should go to one.
Where do you go to find the auction on what you just told me, like the sheriff?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And then what about the taxes and water?
So taxes is also public information after a certain point.
Right, like we said.
So you can, how do you find taxes? You
So
can
there's a list. Usually there's a list when they do a tax sale.
you can do a tax lien. You can find a tax lien sale, but tax is also public information. So you could go to any city and request do an OPRA request.
How do you spell that?
OPRA. OPRA request is Open Public Records Act, right?
Oh, you're so good. I was just looking up what it was
Yeah.
for. Yeah.
So it's an act that was passed that gives anyone the right to request public information from the city. So you could go to, it's a form you fill out, and you can just submit it and request all the tax delinquencies in any given city.
It's really easy. I've done Oprah requests for other things, not for this, but you just literally type in Oprah request and like what you're looking for, and it'll take you to a website, and then you fill out the form. And now that they're doing it all by email, I've done them and they haven't even cost me anything.
Okay.
Yeah, it's free.
But you can also probably go to the local tax office in your municipality, and they may have a list for you where they'll give it to you. So there's tons of ways to find out about the tax liens. Water, I'm not so sure about.
I'm not either. And I wouldn't focus too much on water just
Okay.
because it's a minor bill compared to everything else.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the water lien is it could be a good indication of a property that has challenges. You
But
know,
if the water is delinquent, chances are
It wouldn't be.
the taxes are delinquent too. Yeah.
Yeah.
the bigger payments need to be delinquent in order for there to be something.
All right.
So those are good.
Actually, this might sound like a dumb question, but like, what's a water lien?
No, that's not a dumb question at all.
Like, what is that?
What is it?
So Harry Potter goes like this in the water lien.
No.
Sideways.
Ha, ha, ha,
A
ha,
water
ha.
lien is basically someone didn't pay their water bill.
Oh.
So the water company enacts a lien on they do a paper document that says you can't sell this property until you pay this bill, and that's what a lien is. Just like a tax lien, the municipality makes a paper document says against the property you can't sell this property until these taxes are paid.
So they're right. If someone's not paying their water, they're not
Okay.
paying their taxes, probably. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then I'm gonna save the second last question for the last question. So the next question, they were asking me, a whole bunch of people are asking, like explain how you can get into real estate without having a license.
Ooh. That's a
So-
good one.
That is.
I mean, we went over it like every podcast really, but there's like a lot of information, right? And
Yeah.
so
So you can't help anyone buy or sell real estate. Like I couldn't sell your
so
home.
if I don't have a real estate license, you can't help or
you can't act for another person.
you can act for another person.
However, you can sell your own home, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
For sale by owner.
Right. And you can buy without a real estate agent, though I wouldn't suggest it. But what these guys do with the investing is really how you can get into real estate
Okay.
without having a license.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Okay, so the question is, how do you get into real estate without having a license?
Yes.
Okay. You don't need the license to do anything in relation to real estate for yourself. You can buy your own home, you can sell your own home, you could even help your brother buy a home in theory if you're just doing it together.
You can't get paid for it.
You can't
Or
make
any
money off
compensation.
of it legally.
But how would you make it a job? Like,
how
how
would you make
could-
it a job? You could go out and wholesale properties. So you could you could do your tax lien searches, and you could look for
Right.
properties that had issues. You could knock in their door like we did a couple weeks ago, see if that person wanted to sell. You could put that under contract, and then you could go and flip that contract to somebody else. You don't need a license to do that, right? Omar?
Really?
Yeah, you don't need a license for that. That's just assignment of contract, wholesaling. But there's a 3-letter acronym that I use for this, right? So if someone wants to get started in real estate without their license, they have 3 options, and I call it the LLC, and it's either land, labor, or capital.
Ooh.
I didn't copyright that yet, but that's what I call it. But
explain it.
so if you don't have your license, you want to get into investing. That's what most people mean. And the first thing they think of is wholesaling, because that's the buzzword right now, right? But if you look at what aspect of real estate you can get involved in, it's either land, you go find deals, right? Maybe you
On
have
land.
Land, however that is, a house, piece of land, maybe you have an inheritance.
Okay,
maybe your
so a
family-
house.
Yeah, maybe you
Okay.
have land in your family, whatever that might be. That's one way for you to get in, find the deal. Second is labor. Are you a contractor? Are you a mason? Are you a tradesman? Because if you have that skill, it's easier for you to get into real estate and understand how at least the cost and the construction part of it is done. If you don't have labor, then you need capital. Capital is money. And if you have money, you can do whatever you want in real estate. So those are the 3 ways those are the only 3 ways people can get into real estate. Because when you talk about licensing, you're just talking about buying and selling. And most people are not looking to do that if they're talking about investments.
That works. LLC. Love it.
Trademark coming. Pending.
And then the last question, there was a few questions about home owning or business owning. You know, people like that are first time homeowners. There was one question where he said he was a homeowner when he was younger, and now he doesn't know if he wants to like get into real estate with like the flipping or owning a business and then getting into it. Like, should he look for real estate for the business?
Great question. So I would start with, do you want to be a business owner? Okay, so let's say you are a chef and you have a little restaurant, right? So first way to get into real estate is go find a building that you can put your restaurant in. Maybe something with like 5 apartments on top, a little storefront for your restaurant. Now you have extra income from those 5 apartments. You've now taken your business and become the tenant on the first floor of your building. Super, super, super easy way to get started. Also, there's loan programs out there that are designed to help business owners buy buildings for their businesses. Great way to get started. You can handle the...
The question is whether they should do a business first or buy a home first, right?
Yeah, like and like, you know, there were people that wanted to know about buying a home for their own home, but then there were other people talking about like, should I buy the home, flip it, or get a business, get that money, the revenue from the business, and then go into it.
Got it. So I think ideally everyone should get into business first, because the challenge is it's hard to get into a business that really makes sense, right? People buy homes and get into real estate because if you see a good deal, the banks will lend you on it. But in order for a bank to approve a business, you have to have a very successful business, number one, and it has to make significant money. So it's a bigger barriers to entry for someone to start a business than it is to buy a house. There's not many businesses most people can begin.
Yeah.
Unless you already have money.
franchise.
But even franchises have such strict
Yeah,
requirements
yeah.
that it's like if you ask this person, what business do you have in mind? Let's just say that entry-level businesses include laundromats, car washes, bagel shops, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a pizzeria. So those
I don't know
businesses.
about a car wash,
That sounds
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It can be.
unless it's a hand car wash.
I know a lot of people that
Car washes are
Car
amongst.
washes.
flip their,
Yeah.
illegal things and do car wash.
Yeah. So these entry-level businesses
Entry-level businesses, I'm going to write that
are
down.
limited, and most people can
What
have
do you
the
mean
option.
limited?
It's very difficult to get into it as someone who's looking to make money in a business. Number one, you need money to get into that, right?
So you more mean like a low cost business.
Yeah, because when
Got
we
it.
talk business, no one is going to buy a $10 million business, right? So most people's entry into business is to do one of these easily accessible local businesses. And in order to get into that, it's high barriers of entry. You need the skill, you need the knowledge, you need money, you need the loan. And most people don't have that, so instead of doing that, they go into real estate.
Got it. Interesting.
Lower barriers to entry, right?
Because you could buy your first house with 3.5% down if you used an FHA loan.
Yeah. Now, with that said, a lot of people, and I agree with this, I don't think a house is a
Right.
good investment at all.
So you're saying you need money. You need money to invest in a property. Anyways.
True. But let's say Eric just mentioned 3.5% is FHA, right? So I wouldn't include that as part of a comparison to a business, but let's assume that someone has $200,000 saved. And they're like, what do I do with this?
Right.
Very realistic scenario, right? People are
Right.
saving for years, they have $100,000 saved, maybe $200,000 saved. They could put that towards a house. I think it's a terrible way to spend money by putting it in a down payment towards a house. But with that same 200, what are you going to do in terms of business? What business are you going to start? There's not many answers to that. So people are limited in what they could do with the money, so they take the safe route and they put it towards a house.
Right. But I think what Eric mentioned was great. Even in New York and Jersey, there's a lot of, New York, especially Brooklyn, they have like a business with apartments on top.
Sure.
Yeah, I think
True,
that's a
but-
good one.
but I think
Yeah.
if you,
Yeah.
so let's break that down. If you have a business on the retail, you have 5 apartments on top, right? Mixed use property. What are you buying? Are you buying the asset, the real estate, or are you buying the business? Are you looking to operate the business or because it's difficult to do both. Why would, if you.
But he's saying if you have a business already in mind that you already like, if you're a chef and
If
you
you
want
already
to,
have
right?
Because
right.
one of the girls was a spa. Oh, like she wants to open up her own spa.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well, that's a great point that Omar brought up. So you could actually go out, find a spa that's for sale with a building. And maybe someone has a building with a spa in it that has apartments and try to buy the whole thing.
If you get deep pockets, yeah. Right?
Yeah.
That's a big limit there. So it goes back to the question, how can you get your foot in the door is what most people want to know. So if there's a spot in this, those are 2 separate sales. You have to buy the business and you have to buy the real estate. How do you go about doing that?
Unless it's the same owner.
But even then, it's 2 different, even if the business
Get
is
an
separate.
SBA loan, 10% down.
Yeah,
if
that's
you're
one
already
option.
if you're already in the business. So I think you have to also look at you as a person. What do you do already? Like, are you already a cosmetologist and you want to open a hair salon? Are you already a plumber and you want to open a kitchen store? Are you already a hairdresser. Like, what are you?
That's a good one.
What do you want to get into? And then use that as a direction.
So if you are a business owner, buying the building that you're going to utilize.
So if you're a hairdresser and you want to open a Supercuts, I don't know what the Supercuts franchises cost, but you could get started buying a Supercuts, then make some money doing that, and then go and buy your commercial property afterwards.
Right. So it goes back to the original question, which is a business is a better option to start with, but it's limited in terms of what people can get into.
Or another option, find a building that had a business in it. So for instance, if you find, let's say, a 2-family house that has a commercial, so we're actually representing a property in Newark, New Jersey. It's a two apartments on top, and the first floor was a event planning, an event space. You could have parties there. Okay.
With people living on top.
With 2 people living on top. So the space is ready to go. Anyone could come. We could go there tomorrow, buy the building, put 2 tenants upstairs, and open our business on the first floor using
doctor's
what was there
office.
before. Well, you don't have to be a doctor, but let's say you're a
A nail
chef
salon.
or a nail salon, and there was a building that had an empty nail salon in it.
Or a barbershop.
That's a way to start because you're lowering your cost out of pocket because there already was that business in that location. Remember, people go out of business all the time.
Okay, so we're going to tell everyone that they should keep on giving you their questions, right?
Yes. Keep the questions coming.
But we have a drum roll because you guys are getting together and you're going to do a mastermind class. So what's a mastermind class? It's literally where Eric and Omar are going to teach everyone about how to start in real estate investment. And they're going to go through wholesaling, burring, flipping, and they're going to follow your journey as well and learn with you. This is awesome because it's on a subscription base. They can come in month to month, and they get 2 classes every month with all of you.
Live. And this
Live.
is really for you because
And-
you wanted us to teach you.
Right. And it's crazy because like every time we come and sit down, I feel like I'm learning. Like we went over that Oprah?
Yeah.
I wanna-
Oprah.
like I hate saying it, I guess.
Not
whatever.
Oprah, who just,
Not Oprah,
I know.
but
who just got off the Weight
So we
Watchers
went
board.
over that like 5 times, but like when you're not like sitting and learning, it's harder to like absorb the information. You know, like you see me sitting here finally with a paper and pen, and like that's how you can really obtain the information and the knowledge. And then on top of that, there will be like a WhatsApp group.
Yep.
With everyone speaking and answering questions and helping and supporting each other.
There are a ton of different things that we're going to add to it to make sure that everyone who comes on this journey with you gets support. So they're going to get support by Eric and Omar. They'll get support from the Center for Real Estate Education. But also, they're going to actually be able to do things step by step. Big thing that we do at the Center for Real Estate Education is give people actionable items. Like, you have been doing so well with actionable items. They were like, oh, you have to go, and find a home. You came back with 3 different properties, and then you went to the property. You took action. You're an action woman. So they're going to teach everyone else with you how to be actionable.
What's up, guys? It's your girl, DJ Sophia Body, and I am super excited to announce that we are launching a private real estate mastermind membership. Join me as I learn how to invest, wholesale, and flip houses. Get access to pro real estate investors in a community of like-minded people. Click the link in my bio and DM me for your special discount code. I'm ready to build generational wealth. Are you?